I've just picked up the Ego 56 volt multi-tool kit, and in this video, I'm going to be taking a closer look at the 25 centimeter pole saw attachment. So let's take a look at what comes in the box. So in here, we've got our power head attachment, the line trimmer attachment, the hedge trimmer attachment, and the pole saw attachment. We've also got a 5 amp hour battery, a charger. We've also got some string for the line trimmer, an instruction booklet, and a shoulder strap. All right, so taking a look at the power head. So at the very far end, we've got the slot where the battery goes in and the brushless motor that powers the power head. Then moving along, we've got the first hand grip, which has got the trigger mechanism, and straight away, I'm not a massive fan of that. The safety release is this little plastic switch that you've got to push back. And normally with the line trimmer, I'd use a single finger on the trigger, but this is kind of leading you towards needing to use two to be able to engage that or to push it and then pull the trigger. And I think every time you release the trigger, it's going to be slightly annoying. Maybe just something to get used to, but I definitely prefer the trigger style where the safety release is on top of the handle. So when you grip it, it's automatically engaged. On the top, there's a digital speed controller as well. So that's just two limit settings. So a low and a high power. Then moving down the unit, we've got a carbon fiber shaft with a hook there for the shoulder strap and the spot for the handle to go. Then moving down to the very end of the power head is an aluminium fitting with a button and a mechanism to tighten it, and that's where all of the attachments fit into. In the box, there was also the secondary handle, which is a toolless install. It's also got this secondary handle, which I guess gives you a bit more flexibility if you're edging or using it in certain positions. It's a bit of adjustability there. You can set it to where you want it. Does feel like it's got a bit of movement though, even though it's been tightened all the way up. So with the power head, we've also got this battery charger, which is a massive unit. It's got a few indicators on the front there for the state of charge, which is nice. And then the 5 amp hour 56 volt battery, which is fairly weighty. The end of the battery has got a power button, which gives the battery status in 20% increments. So out of the box, it's come at 40%. And then the battery just clicks into the power head like that nicely. With the battery in, we can use the speed button to cycle through those two power level settings. And now let's connect up the 25 centimeter pole saw attachment. So this is the 25 centimeter or 10-inch pole saw extension for the multi-head. We've got 1,050 millimeter aluminium pole. We've got the 10-inch or 25 centimeter chain and bar there. 220 mil oil reservoir for bar and chain lubrication, and an included multi-purpose Allen and flathead for the chain adjustment. Up on the end as well, we've got a bucking plate and a hook there for pulling branches down. And then on the opposite side here, we've got an Allen bolt, which you can undo to loosen the bar. And then on the inside here, we've got a flathead screw, which is for the chain tension adjustment. Also came with this plastic chain and bar sheath. The kit also came with this 76 centimeter aluminium extension pole. Now I'm not 100% sure, but you could potentially add multiple of these to achieve a greater length. In saying that, I think once you've added one or two of these, it's probably going to get a little bit unstable to handle. Now this itself feels quite light. It almost feels a little bit cheap, but I suppose you want to have that as light as possible to make it as easy to maneuver as possible. And according to the tech specs, it comes in at 1.89 kilos with the sheath on it. So to attach it to the power head, simply take the cap off, slide it into that coupler, and it clicks in, and then you can tighten this up and it lines up with that red line that's on that shaft. So I'm going to measure it from the center of the bar to the center of the back hand grip, because that'll give you an idea of how far your reach is. And that's about 1.8 meters. Now to take the pole saw off from the power head, just loosen that, push the button, and it'll slide out. So we can also add in the extension pole. And I have found this already, I haven't used it, but I've found it to be a little bit of a pain to connect this extension bar, whereas all the other attachments go in straight away. So tightening that up, can then click that into there. Now to give you an idea of the reach that you've got with that additional extension bar, sort of going from the center of that bar to the center of the handle, we're at about 2.5 meters. So pretty decent reach. In terms of feel, it is a little bit sort of weighty with that extra extension pole in there. I guess not something you'd probably want to be using all day. So now it's time to go and put this to use, and I'll give you my thoughts on how it operates. So I've had a couple of months now to test out the pole saw, and I'm ready to give my verdict. And honestly, I've found it really disappointing, and that really surprised me considering how good the line trimmer is. Now I got the pole saw as part of the multi-tool kit, thinking I could replace my old 18-volt Ryobi pole saw, but I genuinely prefer the 18-volt Ryobi pole saw over this one. So my main gripe with this pole saw is how much vibration it carries through the whole machine when you're cutting. It doesn't vibrate with any of the other attachments, but you definitely feel it with this one. I've also found it to be pretty jumpy and jittery when cutting, and you can kind of see that in some of the clips that I got when I was testing it. The extension shaft that came with the kit as well is also pretty terrible. It's always really hard to connect, and that's the main issue with it. I don't understand why this happens, because all of the other multi-tool attachments connect easily to the power head, but every time you go to connect that extension shaft, it's just a pain to get in. You've got to wiggle it. Sometimes you've got to like pull the trigger a bit to make it spin, and then it'll finally click into place. It's a real pain. I think I also much prefer a dedicated pole saw that's got a telescopic shaft, so you can adjust it on the fly to the length that you need. With the way this one is set up, you're either using it just with the pole saw attachment on the power head, or you've got to add the extension shaft, and if you're doing different lengths of branches or you need something in between, you've either got it too short or longer than you need. The foam handle also lets this down. It's only been a couple of months, it's already starting to show signs of wear and tear, and I just know it's not going to stand the test of time. A hard plastic handle would have been a much better design. Now onto the good things. It's got plenty of power, probably more than it needs or that you're going to use, to be honest. It's also really easy to use. I like the battery powered side of it. It's quiet, it's got no fumes, no hassle. It just starts and goes straight away. Battery life is also really good, more than most people are going to use. Keep in mind, this is a pretty heavy, awkward tool, so it's not something that you're going to want to be using all day long. But if you do need to use it for longer periods, and you need to use more batteries, it is super easy to change out batteries, put a fresh one in, and they charge up really quickly as well. I've found about 35 minutes for the 5 amp to charge up completely. So in summary, it's gonna do what you ask of it. It's just not a particularly nice tool to use, and I don't find it cuts particularly well, but it will do everything you ask of it. I just think Ego kind of missed the mark with this one, especially considering the quality of some of the other tools that I've seen.